Welcome back. As entrepreneurs, we continuously play both sides of the game. We're either negotiating the sale of our products or services or negotiating the purchase of products and services to provide our clients what they need. Nevertheless, in every single one of our negotiations, there are trade-offs to making a great deal. These trade-offs are also called concessions. And in order to create the best win-win deals, there is a strategy around how we make concessions. So let's consider our goal when we offer concessions. What's our goal in a negotiation and why do we make concessions? What's the purpose? What are we trying to accomplish? Many people think that getting a good deal is what people negotiate for. But in reality, that's an assumption. And don't ever trust your assumptions. Let me suggest that concessions can move you closer to the deal, or they can move you further away as well. We always assume that they're moving us closer, but that's not necessarily the case. For example, many years ago, before iPhones, I was in New York City and I wanted to purchase a digital camera. So I walked into this shop that had cameras. I went in, I saw the camera that I liked, I looked at it, it had all the gadgets that I wanted, and I asked the gentleman in there, how much is this camera? And he said $379. So I looked at the camera, I said, I don't know if I want to pay that much. I turned around, I took a step towards the door, and he said, but if you take it right now, I'll give it to you for $179. And I said, what? He dropped $200 on the spot. First I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's totally trying to rip me off. Like he thought I was a fool. I got very offended and I said, I don't want to buy anything from this guy. So I walked out and I went on to different stores and different camera shops and I kept looking around and I realized that he gave me an amazing deal. It was how he gave it to me that lost all credibility. Him dropping $200 on the spot made me feel that it wasn't a good deal. He dropped too fast and too large in his concessions. Now, this was a classic one-shot deal, and let's face it, most people here negotiate where there are long-term relationships involved. And that's where you take a different approach and pursue a different strategy when you're negotiating. What's the difference? How does your goal differ in a long-term relationship? In a long-term relationship, it's essential to leave the other party satisfied. However, even in car purchase negotiations, it's not always the buyer that paid less for the same car that is most satisfied. When negotiation researchers began their studies many years ago on what brought about satisfaction in a negotiation, they started with the assumption that satisfaction is linked to outcome, meaning that people who got better settlements will feel happier than those who didn't do as well. To test out that assumption, they devised a very simple chart. They asked everyone in their experiment to rate their satisfaction on a scale of 0 to 10. They discovered something interesting. There was no correlation between success and satisfaction. People who got good outcomes felt good, but people who came out with poor settlements were nearly equally satisfied. You couldn't tell the winners from those that received very little.